Sylvester. The state of Idaho is fighting Congress and President Bush on the creation of the North American Union. Idaho is calling on its congressional representatives in Washington to step in and block the plan. Now, as Bill Tucker reports, 13 other states are considering similar measures.
The fight against the North American Union is escalating, not at the federal level, but at the state level. Currently, 14 states are considering legislation opposing what the administration calls the Security and Prosperity Partnership. In Idaho, the measure has been approved by both houses of its legislature because Idaho is tired of the secrecy. In a simple statement from one of the Senate sponsors, he explains, quote, Idaho wants Congress to weigh in on this and get it out in the open and vote on it. At the federal level, it's hard to escape the push for unifying Canada, Mexico, and the United States. The language is everywhere, even though the people have never voted on it. In last year's failed so-called Comprehensive Immigration Reform Bill, the Senate inserted language praising the North American Union for progress made, quote, in developing and implementing an immigration security strategy for North America that works towards the development of a common security perimeter. In other words, gone are the borders of the United States of America. Welcome to the borders of North America. It's a far cry from what's happening at the state level.
The state activity is an indication of the grassroots concern about this issue. The states are closer to the grassroots, and that's where you're going to first see the indication of some discomfort with the Security Prosperity Partnership or the idea of a North American Union.
Washington isn't listening, just as Washington has ignored the people on the issue of immigration. Now, papers obtained by the conservative group Judicial Watch under the Freedom of Information Act from the Department of Homeland Security show that many of our security policies, in fact, perhaps have already been co-opted. In fact, it quotes Michael Chertoff in memos internally telling the department to align itself with the priorities and the values of SPP when it comes to security-related matters regarding Canada and Mexico. So, Kitty, clearly this policy is pushing ahead and has a huge momentum all on its own, and it's being ignored on out in the states for the most part.
The states really don't have the jurisdiction on this, though, do they?
No, they don't. And when you talk with Idaho and you talk with groups like the National Council for State Legislatures, they'll tell you, we really don't follow this, and what Idaho is doing is a little unusual because they don't have any say in this. But like the congressman or the state congressman out there said, we want to get this out in the open, kid. We want people talking about this. We want to create a national dialogue, not just let this thing happen sort of quietly in the middle of the night.
It certainly is gaining a bit of momentum, though, isn't it? It's turning up in press reports and now with these states.
Well, you have 14 states now, and 14 out of 50 doesn't sound like a lot, but that's still a substantial momentum because a year ago you'd have been hard-pressed to find any states talking about this.
Or to raise any awareness.
Or raise the awareness of the issue.
Thanks very much, Bill Tucker. Now our poll question. Do you think the Bush administration recognizes the growing economic strain on working men and women in this country? Yes or no? Cast your vote at LouDobbs.com, and we'll bring you the results a little bit later in the broadcast. Coming up next, is there more trouble ahead for Karl Rove in the White House? We'll have a report on another possible scandal for the Bush administration. Clashes at an amnesty agenda protest in the streets of Los Angeles. We'll have that story and more when we come back.